Welcome to Colossal Works, the biggest things humanity has ever tried to build. In the middle of Pyongyang, the capital of North Korea, there is a pyramid. It is made of concrete and glass. It stands 330 meters tall, and it is one of the largest hotels ever designed. It has 105 floors. It has been standing, in one form or another, for almost 40 years. And in all that time, it has never had a single guest, not one. This is the story of the tallest empty building on Earth. It is called the Ryugyong Hotel, and it was supposed to be a symbol of triumph. A gleaming tower to crown the capital and show the world what the country could build. Instead, it became something no one intended, a monument that spent decades unable to open its doors. The plan began in 1987. North Korea wanted a landmark, and it wanted it fast. The design was extraordinary, a slender pyramid rising to a sharp point, 330 meters above the city. 105 floors of hotel, reportedly around 3,000 rooms, topped by a cluster of revolving restaurants that would turn slowly high above Pyongyang. And there was a deadline. The hotel was rushed to be ready for a huge international event, the World Festival of Youth and Students, in the summer of 1989. This was a showcase, a chance to impress thousands of visitors from around the world, and to answer the attention that neighboring South Korea had just won by hosting the 1988 Olympics. On paper, it was ambitious in the extreme. A building this tall would have been a serious challenge for any country. For an economy the size of North Korea's, it was a staggering gamble. And the numbers behind it were enormous. By some estimates, the project would swallow a sum equal to around 2% of the entire national economy. That figure is not official, and it should be treated with caution. But everyone agrees the cost was crushing. The first problem was the deadline itself. 1989 came, the festival happened, and the hotel was nowhere near ready. The tower was rising, but it was an empty concrete frame, not a working building. And then the ground shifted underneath the whole project. In 1991, the Soviet Union, North Korea's most important ally and economic lifeline, collapsed. The support that had propped up the economy vanished almost overnight. A devastating famine followed later in the decade. And in that crisis, a luxury hotel was impossible. Around 1992, construction simply stopped. The cranes went still, and the Ryugyong was abandoned as a bare gray skeleton, 330 meters of unfinished concrete looming over the city. What happened over the next 16 years is where the legend grew, and it came on three fronts. The first was money, and it never really went away. The country simply could not afford to finish what it had started. So the tower just stood there, frozen, from 1992 all the way to 2008. For years, it was reportedly kept out of official photographs of the city, as if a building that big could be made to disappear. The second front was the structure itself. A building left half-finished and exposed to the weather for over a decade invites hard questions. For years, outside reports claimed the concrete was flawed, or that parts of the tower were slightly out of true. It is important to be careful here. Much of this was rumor, from a country that reveals almost nothing. But what is certain is that, for 16 years, no one could use it. The third front was isolation. A grand hotel only works if guests come. But North Korea was one of the most closed-off countries on Earth, wrapped in sanctions and cut off from the global tourism industry. There was no international hotel chain lining up to run it, and almost no foreign travelers to fill 3,000 rooms. The building's basic purpose had quietly stopped making sense. Then, in 2008, there was movement. An Egyptian company, Orascom, arrived to build the country's mobile phone network, and, as part of its work in North Korea, it took on the Ryugyong. Crews finally wrapped the raw concrete pyramid in glass panels. By 2011, The outside of the building was, at last, complete. From a distance, it finally looked like the tower from the original drawings. It looked finished, but it was a shell. Behind that glass, the interior was still largely empty. And that is where the Ryugyong found its strange second life. Because if it could not be a hotel, the state found another use for it. In 2018, workers fitted one enormous face of the pyramid with a giant LED display. Now, at night, the tallest unfinished building in the world lights up. It plays animations, waving flags, political imagery, scenes glorifying the state, projected across a screen the height of a skyscraper. The hotel that never opened had become a billboard. There have been flickers of a different future. In 2024, reporting suggested the state was quietly looking for foreign investors, even offering the rights to run a casino inside, anything to finally fit out those empty floors. Whether that ever happens is anyone's guess. As of 2026, the Ryugyong Hotel is still officially unopened. Guinness World Records lists it as the tallest unoccupied building on the planet. So, what is the Ryugyong, really? It is not quite a failure, and it is not a success. It is one of the largest structures ever built for a purpose it has never once served. For nearly 40 years, it has stood over Pyongyang. First, as a symbol of ambition, then as an embarrassing skeleton, and finally as a glowing screen, selling an image to the city below. It was designed to welcome the world. Instead, it just shows the world a picture. And that raises a strange question. When a building this enormous can never do the one job it was built for, what is it actually for? Maybe, in the end, the message was always the point. If this blew your mind, hit that like button and subscribe for more megastructures. And tell me in the comments which one I should cover next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.